Greetings to my 1131 subscribers, and of course you, the future subscriber. Tonight we are looking at the Laphroaig Quarter cask, bottled at 48% ABV, non-chill filtered, and for some reason it's a green bottle and they decided to add some color to it. Now, not sure what is the reason for it. I can understand if it's side by side on the shelf in the whiskey shop, and you can see the difference between the different batches. There's different colors, but come on, it's in a green bottle, eh? Nobody really cares. So maybe there's something that they can think of. Just leave it out. I don't think it's necessary, but of course, who am I to judge them? Now, I know a lot of you that have been following my channel know that I'm not a big fan of peated whiskies, and for a couple of years I've been struggling with them, but I think the only reason was I started with the wrong whiskey. And of course, when you start with smoky whiskies, you go straight to Laphroaig, Laphroaig, maybe Kolila, and you end up thinking, well, maybe this is not for you. But over the last 2 years, I found Laphroaig 10, absolutely fantastic. Port Charlotte, oh my word, for me that was absolutely one of the best smoked whiskies that I have ever tasted. Then I moved up a little bit and I went to the Octomore, the Ultimate 6.1, and it was really nice. I enjoyed it. So it was a little bit of a hit and miss for me. Some of them are just a little bit too much, a little bit like eating a piece of asphalt. So not always a big fan of it. So I went online, found a sample of the Laphroaig Quarter cask. Now I've been bashing the Laphroaig 10-year-old for quite some time. Could not stand it, didn't like it. But sometimes you need to go back and just to see if it's still the case. Your palate changes, your nose changes, and sometimes the offensive things can become a nice thing. Now, I remember years ago, I was still 16, 17. My dad was a whiskey drinker. He loved a good whiskey. And I always go pour him a drink, take a couple of sips myself. Found it very offensive. But then again, I really didn't like beer as well. The bitter note of beer, could never understand why people would love beer. Well, fast forward a couple of years, I love the beer and I love the whiskey. So yeah, we do change over time, and sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes it's just a no-go. So the Quarter cask for me, it is mature in ex-bourbon cask, and with a little bit of digging, I did also find out that they then move it into a quarter cask, give it a little bit more contact with the wood, maybe extracting a little bit more of the flavors of that wood. And in this case, they talked about coconut and banana. Now, I did spend some time yesterday with it. Well, not so sure about the coconut and banana one. But anyway, we will start looking for that banana and the coconut, and they do say that additional flavors will come from the quarter cask, that more wood contact with the alcohol. So, yeah, unfortunately, they do add color, non-chill filtered, on the nose. Now, this is something that I can tell you now, give it some time in the glass. When I open up the bottle and I poured it in, immediately I was not impressed with it. I was not happy with it. It was, for me, standing next to a railway station and the old steam train passed through, and it's got all this black smoke coming out, and that is what I got. That black, sooty smoke, that stinky coal note that came out. It reminds me of a hospital, that disinfective, TCP, tar, creosote, things that I don't want in my whiskey. So definitely was not impressed with that initial pour of the whiskey. But with a little bit of time, so when I first tried it, I spent some time with it, realized it does change for the better. So for the review, I poured a decent dram and I just let it stand, let it air out the stinkiness, and then it changes to something that's quite pleasant. Also on the nose, that initial shock, that peat note, slowly disappears, and then you are left with quite a sweet whiskey on the nose. There's a little bit of a vanilla note. I get, not every time, but a little bit of a cinnamon note as well. A little bit of a caramel note. And if I do a little bit of an agitation, I get a little bit of the alcohol. Now that was quite a surprise for me. I did not expect that lightness of the alcohol. 48%, I thought it's going to be quite a punchy type of nose. I thought it's going to be a little bit ethanol-y. It's only maybe 5.5 years old. So I was expecting that something that's youthful, a little bit of a ethanol type of nose. Not getting that. Actually getting quite pleasant on the nose. There's a little bit of a buttery note. Now I didn't pick this up yesterday when I started taking notes, but now, especially of a nice big dram, a little bit of a butteriness that comes in. Quite pleasant. Definitely, I don't think it's a complex whiskey. Those notes that I picked up, that's what I get. I do get a little bit of an ashy note as well now. But still, quite pleasant on the nose, if you can get past the smoke. And I think that is the thing with some of this smoke or peated whiskies, is that you need to give it a little bit of time. I think your nose quickly acclimatizes, and then you can get to the back of the smoke, and you get all these nice flavors that come out. Now, coconut or banana, I'm not getting those ones. Definitely not. Now, I had a banana for breakfast this morning. I know what the banana smells like. I'm not getting any banana. Coconut, I'm a big coconut addict. And yeah, I'm definitely not getting that. Now, of course, we need to taste it as well. Cheers. Now, I was thinking, 48%, you need to take a very small sip. Surprisingly sweet. Didn't get that alcohol. It's like 1 or 2, 3 seconds of this burst of sweetness. Then I get the peat, and then almost immediately I get a little bit of a oaky tannins coming through. Just want to make sure, and maybe take a little bigger sip. The sweetness is there, but then after that 2-3 seconds again, I get that peat, I get that tar note, that creosote, that coal note, hospital, TCP. Not a big fan. And then after that, I'm left with a little bit of a bitterness coming through. And every time I seem to go back, it just elevates the bitter notes. If you wait maybe 3-4 minutes before you take the next sip, much better. But then it slowly builds up again to something that's not really something that I appreciate. Let me just make sure. Cheers. There's a little bit of a burnt caramel note. Not getting any other flavors. It is sweet, caramel, a little burnt note, and when I'm sit again with that quite heavy peat on the taste. Not so much on the nose, but definitely building up is a little bit of a sour note also appearing. And the funny thing about this one, I keep on going back for more, and I don't know why. I think it is just this extreme contrast, that burst of sweetness, and then that burst of oak, and that burst of the peat. A little bit of extremes. Let me just go back. Definitely not going to add water to it. Even at 48%, it drinks like 40% for me, which is quite dangerous. But I think there will be two types of people. Well, maybe three types of people. People that will love it. People that will jump up and down and this is the best whiskey. Then, of course, there will be the other extremes. You say, oh, hell no. I know a couple of people like that. They're not even going to try it. It is sometimes offensive if you are new to whiskey. I don't think this is going to be for you. If you are new to peated whiskies, definitely try something else. The Jack 10, Loch Lomond peated, much more mellower, much more lighter, much more friendly in the beginning. Then you move your way up. For me, I was, when I was making the notes, I was thinking, well, this can only be two people. Love it or hate it. I'm not so sure. I'm moving towards gravitate to quite liking it. But I think I need to spend some more time with it. And I also know the lower the level on the bottle gets, of course, sometimes it does get a lot better on the taste. A lot less smoky. Well, one more try. But this, every time that I do that taste, I get just excited with that sweetness. And I'm looking, where is this sherry cask influence coming in? No sherry, just lovely sweet. And then 3 seconds later, it's just, hang on now, I am Mr. Pete. And then that tarry note, that little bit of that TCP note coming out, not a fan of that. But quite pleasant in the end. Now, 5 years old, I also have the Artback 5-year-old. So more or less the same as the Laphroaig. And this is 47.4% ABV. So close to the 48%. So I thought it was a good idea just to give this one also a try. Picked my favorite one. So I did pour just a small one. Completely different thing. Not even going to bother doing a comparison on the nose, because the nose, big sherry notes, that little bit stinky car tire air coming out, but a lot sweeter on the nose and on the taste. Now, surprisingly for me, I do like the Artback Wee Beastie a little bit better. It's a little bit more mature for me, a little bit more pleasant for me, a little bit more sweeter for me, and there's not a lot of that oaky tannins coming in. The last one that I also just want to add, now I looked in my cupboard and I found a little bit of a Laphroaig 10-year-old miniature. Bought it quite a long time ago. Did a review, was not super impressed with it. So I'm just going to go back to it to see which one I prefer, the Quarter cask or the Laphroaig 10-year-old. Now, no, I think this whiskey has gone past its prime. It stinks. It's no more smoke. It's completely flat. It smells like it's gone off. A little bit of a rotten one. So definitely not going to have this one. So, but it does also show, well, this is probably a year old. So and it was opened for more than a year, maybe a year and a half. So unfortunately, yeah, I think this is something went wrong with this whiskey. So I cannot do a comparison to this one. I might even cut this out, but it will maybe, well, it can also teach you something that drink your whiskey. Don't let it stand too long. So that is me on the Laphroaig Quarter cask. Love it or hate it. You let me know. What is your favorite? Do you like this one? Is it something that you would also push aside? Is it something that you would recommend for your friends? Maybe as a joke? And leave a comment. And of course, as usual, please remember to like and subscribe. And I see you next time. Cheers.